So, yeah, so I'm not going to try to like just say it, it doesn't do it justice, but this woman is an incredible speaker and I'm going to tell you a bit more about her. So, Rachael is a serial entrepreneur. She broke into fashion industry, I believe at the age of 17. Yeah, and so Rachael's made many great strides since then, from styling A-list celebrities to founding her own bridal wear company called Ràshel, to recently producing the official Congo Fashion Week London show. But fashion is not her only passion. She's also an avid campaigner for women's rights, having organised her first event while she was still in school. Rachael now heads a not-for-profit organisation called Foundation Tamar that supports survivors of sexual abuse in the UK and the Democratic Republic of Congo. So you can see she's multi-talented, multifaceted, and it's an honour for her to be in our presence today, for her to speak. So please give a round of applause for our first speaker, Rachael Asamba.
Hi guys, thank you Renee and Ivan. It's a privilege for me to be here. Obviously the event is called Phenomenal Woman, so for me to kind of be singled out or chosen by them both to speak is it's a great thing for me. It's an honour that I'm being seen as a phenomenal woman amongst you guys as well. So yeah, I'm just here to share some of the things I've been through and my struggles that have allowed me to achieve just a small fraction of the things that I want to do and achieve in life. So for those of you, again, I'm just going to introduce myself. So for those of you who I haven't met yet, Rachael Asamba. And yeah, I do or have done the things that Ivan just explained to you guys. I guess being a serial entrepreneur, a lot of the time there's this stigma that's attached to it, which is, chasing money. But, for those who are serial entrepreneurs, I think that, we would all kind of agree on the fact that there's a lot more to it than kind of chasing money and chasing the paper or whatever. There's a lot of passion that comes with it. I think being able to kind of be around, so I grew up watching my mother, who, she's a businesswoman as well, and watching her kind of I didn't watch her come to this country, but I was born, and then I saw her striving to become great, and she was into bridal wear. So I watched my mum. She was into bridal wear, so was my grandmother, so they sewed and all of that. So that's how the passion for fashion kind of started when I was quite young. So my mum kind of taught me how to sew, then I went to school, I studied textiles as well, and yeah, I just got into sewing, making clothes at home and for people, just for fun really. It was it was just a little passion that I had, and eventually in school I just started making things and selling them at school, like little pillows, and Mother's Day I'll make pillows, and Happy Mother's Day, and I'll sell them on. And from then I started to realise this thing in me, this entrepreneurial skill that I had, which was a bonus, that it could make me money, but there was something much bigger behind it, and it was the passion. And so in school, fast forward, that was still happening. I ended up going to college and studying travel and tourism and becoming an air hostess. At the time, I know completely different, but at the time, my mum was traveling quite a lot. So her manufacturers were not in the UK. So she was traveling to India and to Hong Kong and all these places, and I'm quite young and I'm watching my mum and I'm like, girl, you've got kids, but you're living. So I think watching that kind of made me want to travel, and that's when another passion came alive. So we have the fashion and we have the traveling, and so somewhere down along the line, I started experiencing a lot of hardship from quite early on in my journey. And obviously at the time you don't understand, you're quite young, a lot of things are going on, and at about 18, 19, I had experienced sexual abuse. And at the time, I didn't speak about it. I wasn't open about it at all. And I didn't actually have the courage to ever think that I would come forward and speak about it. It was never a thing. I always said to myself, it would never come out of my mouth. I would never speak about it. It would never be discussed. But then meeting a lot of people along the line, somehow it's just the way life is and the way God works. I started somehow meeting people who have also been sexually abused. And even then, never spoken it. But then I went to One Young World in Thailand where I met Ivan as well. And there was somebody who shared her story. There were a few females who shared their story on abuse. And I remember sitting there, I think I was sitting next to Renee actually, and I was like breaking down. Obviously nobody knew why. So I was like breaking down, and it wasn't because of what I had been through, but it was just the overwhelming feeling of seeing those women on stage so courageously sharing their stories. And so I was like, if they can do it, you know, I can do it too. So I guess that's where the passion to start the NGO came from. And so like, this is just to kind of show you guys that, you know, behind literally everything and every detail of my life, there is such a huge story behind it. A lot of entrepreneurs, you know, the lucky ones, they just wake up one morning and it's just happened. But a lot of entrepreneurs, if you ask them, they'll tell you that there's always a huge story. You always hear a huge story behind how they got to where they are today. So I just wanted to share a bit of myself and a bit of my truth with you guys before kind of delving into anything else. But one of the most important topics that I wanted to speak on today, and very important to me, is transparency, and how the main topic is, or my main topic is the power in our struggle. And I feel like the only way we can share that and share each other's truth is if we're transparent with one another. If we're not transparent with one another, with our families, with our friends, with our peers, and you know, just the people around us, and social media, which is what mainly connected us here today, which did the promotion and, you know, allowed us to all be here today. If we're not transparent on these platforms, nothing is real. For me personally, it's unreal. So when I created social media years back, when it all started, let me say from my Instagram actually. So like when I created an Instagram account, I remember I always said like, I'm not really about this like just picture life. I really want to come on here and be able to like kind of just, I saw the impact that it was making in our generation. And so by then, obviously, I had already started my business. So I was like, okay, cool, this thing is, I can promote my business on it and blah, blah, blah. But I always said that I never want to promote my business without showing people the story behind it. I don't want to sit there in front of people and be like, yeah, this is, you know, all magical and it happened like this overnight and da-da-da, all you have to do is do this. It actually is not that, because I can tell you all you have to do is do that, but then you have your own specific journey. You have your path that you have to walk, and your path may entail this and that may happen in your life. Mine, I've just shared it, you know, and everything that I've shared, the entire story behind every part of my life has allowed me to be where I am today. If I didn't go through every single thing that I went through, from, you know, the loss to the abuse and everything that has come with it, I truly would not be here today. It would be impossible. I think that, I believe that, you know, being transparent with one another is what can bring together a powerhouse of black women. A lot of the time, you know, we sit on social media, like I was saying, I didn't ever want to come forward with my story without saying, look, this is what it really is. And behind me, there's a story. Behind you, there's a story. And imagine we all use that power. We all use social media, and we said, look, I'm going to share, even though it's not, you know, what's more glorified? The pictures. Our stories are not glorified. Our transparency is not glorified. It's not really put, you know, it's not a great thing. A lot of the time when we do that, we're perceived as being emotional black women or the angry black woman. And what that does is it just applies pressure, more pressure onto us. I can't remember quote unquote, and I don't know who said this, but I think I actually recently came across it on social media. Something like being a black woman is like being black twice. I don't know if anyone has come across it. So obviously the hardship of being a black person and the hardship of being a woman, which we know, and then bringing those two things together is tough. We fight, and only we can understand that. There is no man, no matter how much we can try to explain, we can try to talk, and you know, they will never, because it's only us inside who experience the things that we go through. And so if I experience it and you experience it and we all understand the struggle of being a black woman, those two difficult things coming together, it's like, what can we do as black women to alleviate that off of each other, off of one another? It's tough doing it by yourself. So what can Renee do for me? What can I do for Annika? What can we do for one another to alleviate that pressure? You know, it's great to talk about, you know, to call one another black queens and, you know, speaking about black girl magic and all of this and that, but what are you actually doing to make one another, or what are we doing to make one another feel like black queens and feel a part of this black magic a society, or whatever we want to call it? What are we actually actively doing to do that? Because it's needed. When we say it, I don't think we understand how important it is to be calling one another these things, you know, how empowering it is. And I think for a while, because I got back into like blogging, my traveling and stuff, and you know, I got caught up on this image gang, got a bit caught up. But one day I was like, no, what am I doing? You know, you need to kind of create a balance, have fun, do your thing, enjoy life. Not everything has to be on the camera and out there for everyone, but create that balance where you are still able to inspire people and to show them that you know, this is my story, and that through my story you can gain strength and go through whatever it is that's going to take you to where you want to be. But I just feel like last year, 2017, I went for a really difficult time. I was feeling I was just doubting myself a lot, and I think that since obviously, you know, finding ourselves and loving ourselves is such an important thing, but even with that, when you do find yourself and learn to love yourself, there are still difficulties that come. There are still times when you're still going to doubt yourself, even though, you know, it looks from the outside, it looks so rosy and so amazing when people talk about loving yourself, and it looks like flowers and roses all around, but it's still difficult. And I believe that it's an everyday thing. It's not just waking up and now you love yourself and everything is beautiful and rosy, but it's learning every day through every struggle and every fight and every battle that you have to endure every day. You learn how to go to sleep and say, look, it is what it is. I am still me. I still love me. And last year it was a really huge struggle for me. I was doubting myself a lot, and I believe and I know that it was a lot to do with my surroundings at the time. For some reason I had allowed myself, so this is me, sharing my truth with you guys, just being transparent. This is something that I feel like I think sometimes when we step forward and make a few steps forward and we take a few steps back again, we're a bit embarrassed to show people that we took steps back again. And so I want to share my truth with people. I think that's a part of the passion. Like, I want to show people that either way, I'm still going to where I'm going. I'm still getting to my destination, but I can take a few steps back, or I don't try to, or I don't intend to, but it happens and here I am. So, but going back to last year, I was doubting myself a lot because of my surroundings. And at the time I didn't realise it was, sorry, can I get some water please? I didn't realise that it was my surroundings. Thank you, sorry guys. So I didn't realise that it was the people around me that were affecting me. And at the time, I thought I was around, great, encouraging people and so on. Or I would say that social media kind of played a part in my confidence last year. All those compliments and all those comments and all those nice things people say online, and we sometimes actually forget that as real as it can seem, it's actually still social media. When you're not on social media, reality, who's around you then? And so social media aside, that encouragement wasn't there. So when social media was kind of put aside, who was encouraging me? Who was telling me what you're doing is great? Because we need that. We do need that. No one was telling me that. I probably had the 1-2 people who are constantly there, the Renees and the Denzels and the constantly there. I know that, but being on social media every day, waking up using your phone every day, posting a picture, people complimenting you, people yes and go and yeah, queen, all of this stuff. We don't know that when we're coming off these things, we're still expecting it to be happening, but it's like, if we're not around the right people, it's not going to happen. Not that, you should rely on it, you should depend on it, but at the time that was my truth. It wasn't happening in reality. And so everything just started crumbling down for me coming towards the end of the year, because I started doubting myself so much. And I realized that I started to depend on what other people thought of me. And coming into the new year, coming towards the end of the year, the end of December, coming into the new year, that's when it kind of clicked, and I was like, but this is not you. You found yourself, who you are, you're confident, you're bold, like you wear ruby woo, do you know what I mean? You step into the place, but and you show up, do you know what I mean? We all know ourselves, and I knew myself, and I said, I'm bold, I'm that character. So how did I get to such a place where I'm doubting myself, and I'm doubting if I'm really going to get to where I want to be, and forgetting that I've actually come so far. And that's what happens when you begin to depend on all those compliments, and you begin to rely on or just placing your self-value in other people's hands. It's a really dangerous thing, and it could have actually destroyed me if I continued down that road. I don't know where I would be right now, but because I kind of something happened, and it just clicked, and I was like, this is not you, come on. But with that being said, that still didn't wake me up. It still didn't get me up and out and be my usual self. And I stopped going to networking events. I was literally just away from everyone, didn't want to speak, lost my confidence. And But eventually, something happened and reality really struck for me. And I realised that, you know, my surroundings were not good for me. It wasn't healthy for me. And the minute that I stepped away from that, the minute that I chose to step away from it, I didn't look for anything else. It came to me. That energy, it attracted to me because I no longer wanted what I thought was for me. I put that aside and I began to attract people who were like me, who thought like me. I'm somebody who likes to pour out love. I like to celebrate people and like anything you're wearing, or if you smell a certain way, like I enjoy it. I take pleasure in like seeing people smile and being happy, and being around people who weren't like that and who didn't know how to celebrate people. It was really unhealthy for me. Not because, you know, not entirely because I needed those words, but because it just wasn't what I was used to. But eventually, you know, God being a good God, he sent those people around me, and life just, it didn't even go back to how it used to be. It changed drastically. In 3 months, my life has changed drastically. So even sitting here right now, you know, this is a new testimony and it's a new thing that I'm sharing with you guys. It's not just my past and my story, but this is something completely new that's been added to my journey. You know, I attracted good people, and attracting good people makes you attract good things and good opportunities and everything good. It allowed me to start loving on people again the way I love to love. And that's something that I realised that, you know, it's me. It's a part of me. It's a part of who I am. It's a part of Rachael. And that came through knowing myself, learning to love myself. And when that happens, you know, those of you who are still on that journey, on getting to know who you truly are, you know, you need to know that it's not easy and that you're going to have to actually do things, practical things. So it's not just a maybe meditate, because people make it seem like it's very rosy. It's not just a let me meditate, let me pray, or there are practical steps to it. You know, maybe like finding time to be alone. Whether it's for a long period of time, a short period of time, however you please, but finding time to be alone, learning how to actually celebrate people. You know, you reap what you sow. What you put out there and the energy you put out there, anything you put out there, it comes right back to you. That's what I believe. And so that's a part of getting to know who you are. You have to take practical steps in order to learn. And once you eventually get to a certain stage, because I don't think that you can completely be there, I'm not sure anyways, but once you get to a certain stage, you begin to love yourself to such an extent of where you are no longer threatened by anyone or anything. You can actually put your hands up and say, no, there's nothing. Because you know the path that you are walking on, you know the journey that you are taking has been designed just for you. And so no one else's success can threaten you, can make you feel a certain way, can put you under pressure, because you know the journey that you're taking, you know where you're going, and you're secure in that. So with that being said, where I'm kind of going with this is how, you know, saying before that what do we do to make each other feel like black queens? I feel like it starts first from within ourselves. We won't be able to uplift each other, celebrate one another if we're not actually secure in ourselves, because what happens is when we're not secure in ourselves, another black queen, another black woman is doing so well and jealousy kicks in. And there we are again, putting each other down. there we are again, not celebrating one another. And it's like, 1 minute she's a black queen, 1 minute I want to do what she's doing. Nothing is wrong with that if you know your path, your journey, and you're secure in that. But we just need to learn how to be with one another, how to create practical steps on how to make each other feel like black queens and so forth. What are the practical steps that we can be taking? Maybe, loving on one another a lot more. Sometimes we feel like we do that, but those challenges that people come up with on social media, sometimes I do feel like these things are quite effective. So like, I don't know, but I think I've come across like 30 days of love. I've just made that up, I don't know, but 30 days of love, or like, do you know what I mean? Those kind of things. But these are things that help us to take practical steps. And there's a saying that 30 days makes a habit. Imagine, doing one of those challenges, 30 days of loving on another black woman. Every day you're choosing to wake up and to celebrate one woman. Every day you're choosing to wake up and to tell one person, you're doing great, you're doing well, keep going. Eventually it becomes your life. It becomes a habit. You want to do this, you love doing this, you love celebrating people, you love loving on people. And I feel like if we learn to take these practical steps, this event is just, one great thing that's happened. We won't be doing it, and it will be much greater than this. It already is. It already is the fact that, you guys are here, we're discussing, we're talking, we're celebrating one another. It's amazing. But then we could fill places up with queens. We can fill places up with people who are like us, we know each other's struggle. And so it would just be amazing to be able to do that. So, I don't know if anyone is creative enough to start one of those challenges, but it would be great to be able to take practical steps. So, I don't know, maybe something like, myself and Renee, we were part of this, a group called Mastermind, which was amazing. We all got a bit busy, life got, so kind of, but it was, whilst it lasted, it was amazing. There was about 6 of us, and what we did was, we would meet up, and when we met up, we would help each person with whatever they've got going on. So the first thing we would do is, it sounds a bit silly, but it helped a lot. The first thing we would do is, if one person's posted a picture, we all agreed that we would all go, all like that picture, all comment on that picture, promote one another. It sounds silly, but it does the job. And we will all support each other. That was just one way. I know some of you guys do that in the group chat, but I'm playing. But those are one of the small things that we were doing to help one another. If someone had an event, we would go and support. If someone had this going on, we would go through our contacts and be like, okay, cool, I've got this, I've got that, you take this, we would share the struggles. We were all accountable to one another. It was absolutely amazing, and it was such a shame that it kind of came to an end. But those are the things and the practical steps that we can be doing to support one another and to alleviate that pressure that we feel from being a black woman in society. So I have 5 minutes left, and I personally just want to be able to celebrate every woman in this place how I want to be celebrated. So we all, speaking of like the struggles and so on that we go through in order to become powerful, in order to turn our pain into strength and so on, I just want us to, or I want to ask for everyone in this room to, every time you post something on social media, try and be just a little bit transparent. I'm not saying, you know, hang your dirty laundry out there and be like, you know, hey, but no. What I'm saying is allow people to understand that it's not what it looks like in the picture. Allow them to know that your struggle is yours, mine is mine, but we can still get there. So I've got a condition that I've had for about 9 years, and that was another thing that I had, you know, nobody knew about apart from my immediate family. And the power of social media, honestly, it's a great thing, and it can be a bad thing. But I came across, so I didn't share it with anyone, but I came across Lady Gaga, who also has my condition called fibromyalgia, and came across her story, and I think she made a film, like a documentary on Netflix, and so I went on there, I watched her, and I was like, okay, so, you know, someone else has this, that means, you know, there are so many others. So I went online on Twitter and hashtags and started researching, and I saw a lot of other people who have my condition who are out there, and I was like, okay, it's a very complex condition, and so a lot of people will never be able to understand the struggles of having the condition. Anyone who has the condition, we kind of we fight through life. We literally fight through life every single day. Our daily lives are a lot different to the normal person's daily life. So, you know, we have to wake up and we have to plan our day a certain way and so forth because of the complexity of the condition. And so I put it out there one day at an event that I spoke at Now or Never. I put it out there, Now or Never event that I spoke at, and straight afterwards there was a lady who came over and she was like, I have it too. And it's a bit of a rare condition. And she came over and she was like, I have the condition as well. And we connected, and she was like, this is what I go through. I was like, oh my gosh, me too. And the fact that I'd never physically met anyone who had gone through or who had my condition as well, it was such a relief for me. And so can you imagine if we were all quite transparent about those little things, big little things that we think people don't need to know about. Imagine the day that we're transparent about these things, how many people can feel relief to know that it's not just them, that there's somebody else going through that who is where they are, meaning that I can also, you know, carry my baggage and get there as well. And I just want to encourage you all to, just be transparent in your struggles. Not everything looks like what it is, especially for me. You know, I've been able to share my truth with you guys, and I really hope that, you know, you guys can take this and adapt it maybe to your lives somehow, even if it's, you know, once a month, wake up, think about Rachel's talk. But yeah, thank you so much for listening and allowing me to share my truth with you all. Okay, and that will be all for me tonight.